Hello, and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the George Harrison of board game review shows. I got my mind set on games. I got my mind set on games. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Risk Europe from Hasbro. In Risk Europe from Hasbro Gaming, 2 to 4 players are going to attempt to dominate the continent of Europe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know what you're thinking, but why risk Europe? Why not risk Antarctica or Australia? You know, the unimportant continents. Well, this derives from a simple misunderstanding on your part. You're not actually risking Europe. Rather, you're playing a game of Risk in Europe. It's subtle, I know, but I think you'll get the distinction. Anyway, this game, Risk Europe from Hasbro Gaming, is a game which sees 2 to 4 players attempt to dominate the continent of Europe. The game board, of course, is a map of Europe, and you've got various cities around the board. Some of them are in gold, some of them are in black, and they, of course, have the crowns, and they show kind of potential victory cities throughout the game. Now, the golden crowns also have kind of certain abilities, shields that come with them. They have certain abilities on them that maybe give you special advantages during the game. For instance, Rome actually counts as 2 victory cities. Players will pick a color faction, and they will go ahead and find one of their first victory cities. They'll get a number of coins as well, and they'll go ahead and place a number of their units on their starting city. Now, you've got different units in the game. You've got footmen, you've got archers, you've got cavalry, and you have siege weapons. And these are very important in how they will play throughout the game. Now, once everybody is set up around the board, you're going to get a number of cards. Each player gets a number of cards. Now, these cards may have a free action at the top, and then they will have kind of 2 main actions. But on your turn, when you play one of these cards, if there's a free action on it, you can do it. And free actions can be things like if you have a siege weapon in a space, you can use that to just kind of, attack some, by range, units in another adjacent zone. But you have to pick one of the main actions to do. You get the free action, but then you have to pick one of the main actions to do. Now, your main actions in the game are as follows. Now, you can expand. So essentially, you can move any number of your units from one territory into another territory that you have not previously, you do not currently, rather, have units in. So you can expand into a new area. Now, you always have to leave at least one unit behind, just like Risk, but you can move all of these units into an adjacent territory you have not gone into. You can split expand, meaning you can take units from one region and then split them into 2 different regions, again, that you have not yet been into. You can maneuver, and a maneuver essentially allows you to move units from one friendly territory to another friendly territory that you control, up to a number of spaces away. You have a tax action, and what the tax action does is essentially it lets you claim coins for any one city on the board and 1 coin for any adjacent territory that you control. So that allows you to get money in your coffers. Then you can spend the spend action. You can do the spend action in order to spend that money to buy new military units and place them on your cities. Now, those bonus actions, again, you have the one with the siege weapons. You can attack units in a neighboring area. You also have things like King Me, which allows you to take the first player token, which means you get to go first in the next round. You can also do Fortify, which allows you to place a number of footmen in kind of one of your home territories. So there's a few different bonus actions you get there as well. Now, in addition to recruiting armies and putting armies on the board, you can also build castles. And castles are important because they're going to give you a very special defensive action, or rather defensive ability when you are defending that territory. You can also essentially purchase crowns. You can buy crowns. Now, again, these are victory points, so if you have enough money, you can choose to spend those on crowns rather than on units for the board. Now, when one faction's units move into a space with another faction's units, combat is going to ensue at the end of the round. Now, a third faction cannot then come in. Combat is only limited to between two factions at a time. So it plays off very simply. Now, the attacker is going to roll for all of his siege engines. They hit it like a 3 or more, so you got a good chance of hitting there. Then the defender rolls with their siege engines. Then the attacker is going to roll with his archers, and they've got a good roll. And then the defender's archers are going to roll. Then the attacker's cavalry will roll, and the defender's cavalry will roll. You'll be rolling per unit that hit on certain numbers. But then, when you get to footmen, it's classic Risk. Essentially, you're going to roll up to 3 for the attacker, up to 2 for the defender, and then you're going to match the highest and second highest die rolls to determine who wins that specific battle. Now, both factions have units that are still around. You're going to go ahead, you're going to go through it again, you're going to try to eliminate the other side. There is no retreating in Risk Europe. Now, if you do have a castle in the territory, that essentially lets you pick one class of unit, either your siege weapons, your archers, your cavalry, or your footmen, and do a reroll every combat round. So you're going throughout the game, expanding into new territories, moving things around, taxing your provinces, spending them, and every time you play your action cards to do these things, they're set aside, they're discarded, and you can only use the ones you have remaining for the next few rounds. Once you run out of all your cards, then you can pick up all the cards you've used and play them again. They're not shuffled. You can play whatever you want, but that keeps you from continuing to play the same cards over and over again. You kind of have to cycle through all your cards before you can use them again. You keep doing all these actions, moving, expanding, maneuvering, battling, taxing, spending, and then as soon as one player has 7 castles at the end of the round, he is the winner of Risk Europe. So Risk Europe is a game that has a map of Europe, and a lot of people, a lot of other reviewers out there, I won't name names, Tom Vazel, always gets a little upset and uninterested whenever they see a game that contains a map of Europe. I am exactly the opposite. I love the gentle contours, the light fjords. I like the inlets and the peninsulas, the silky, high mountains. You get what I'm saying. I love a map of Europe. I'm done a lot of European history, studied a lot of European history. And I love it. I love games that have these kinds of maps. They're a lot of fun for me. And so I was very intrigued when I saw this Risk Europe. And of course I wondered, is this just kind of a variation of Castle Risk? Now, I used to play, when I was in high school, Castle Risk a lot with my friends. In fact, that was my preferred version of Risk to play. Very rarely played traditional Risk. We always played Castle Risk. It was just more fun. We played a lot of that game, and I really loved it. And I wondered, is this just a variant on that? No, it is not. This is a very, very different game from Risk, from Castle Risk. Okay, so things I like about this game. I like how you're going through the cards. I like how you're scrolling through the cards. You're forced to use the cards, play them all out before you can pick them up and use them again. I really, really like that. I like the general kind of way you're forced to either expand or maneuver. You can't really just move with an expand card. It really forces you to concentrate on what you're doing in order to maximize your hand, and I really like that. I like the combat in this game. I like how the ranks are classed, and it really kind of creates an arms race, so you have to start building those siege weapons, but of course they're expensive. You can't fill too many of them, but you need them, and you need archers, and you need cavalry, and then footmen, of course, are great for fodder. I really like that. I like kind of I like the simplicity of this game. It is not a difficult to learn and to teach game at all. I like the strategy of this game. There still is very much a strategy here. Who are you going to... You're going to brush up against people, and you're going to have to attack them sooner or later. This game does not reward turtling. I like that. And I like that you really kind of have to invest in a strategy, and it can backfire... And it can backfire on you, even if, I mean, it really depends on where you're going and where the other people are going, and if you commit to attacking somebody and then somebody else attacks you, now you got 2 enemies, and do you make an alliance with somebody, or an informal alliance, or what do you do? I really like all these aspects of the game. Now, the things I don't like about this game, there's nothing I don't like about this game. No, I really don't. I mean, for what this game is, I don't have any complaints. I think this is a very fun game. Now, there's a variant where you can get some other, powers and things with some of the crown cards you buy. I didn't play with that, but just the basic game, I really enjoyed it thoroughly. It was fun. It's a light strategic war game. It's a light war game. This is everything I want from a really light war game. Maybe not anything. There's some games that I guess maybe add a little more sugar and spice that I appreciate, but for what this game is, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Really had a lot of fun with it. I like the strategy, but the simplicity here is very fun as well. So this is no-brainer for me. I'm going to say buy it. Buy it, Risk Europe. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer, and I recently had a birthday, and my brother gave me, for my birthday, the Bowie Reality Tour CD. which of course I put on my on my iPod. And I got to tell you something. I love David Bowie, and this album is phenomenal. I don't know why I didn't listen to this. It came out like 2010, and I love it. I really love this album. Buy it. Buy the Reality Tour album from David Bowie. It's freaking awesome. And I think it's also time we petition the Almighty to bring Bowie back to us.
Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
That could have been bad.
The Looney Bin.